Go ahead. Oh, Jesus, fuck, is that what? Leaking fluid. Yeah, it's fuel. Danger, danger. Anyways, we got quite a bit of work done there. We got the steering column out and we got the pedal assembly out, so the automatic pedal assembly. I have a manual one that I've already cleaned up and painted years ago, and we're going to compare the steering column to a Mustang steering column because I didn't think they'd be this different. Pretty similar in this aspect. Everything's okay there. So as we move back, everything's good, everything's good. The first thing you notice is where the electrical comes out at. We can see one exits a lot earlier than the other. And as we slowly move further down, we can see quite a difference. It's like 3 inches. Looks like we gotta shorten the Mustang one. We're gonna be going Mustang steering column, getting rid of the up in the column shifter. There's the cut mark, all laid out. But also found another one I have to do. So basically this is where the column support that goes up to the dash. That's the Comet one, that's the Mustang one, so you can see the difference there. Just zip disc the little pieces and we should be good. Like it wasn't even cut. That's a factory Comet steering column. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Perfect. Alright, so I took the spring tension off of the clutch pedal. And I want you to watch that joint right there. So basically the clutch pedal has come loose from the pin that goes all the way through and is clamped on this side here. So I'm going to quickly clean that paint off and give it a quick weld just so it's not weeble wobbling like that. A little movement up there is a big movement down here. Alright, a little bit of a mission, but got the Mustang steering column all in, and got the clutch pedals. Coming along, coming along. No more shifty lever over here. I think the next thing will be cutting a hole somewhere in this area. We're going to spin it around here and get this engine all finished up, all put back together, all new gaskets. We're going to be putting a brand new timing chain set on it too, and just get it ready for install on the 65 Comet. Alright, so you can probably tell there's quite the slop in the timing chain. So I went out and bought Chloe's kit from Summit. It's a true roller timing set. It is for a one-piece eccentric 91135. So we're gonna get that installed, and hopefully it tightens that slop up quite a bit. Alright, so we've set our timing points in line with one another. We're going to take this timing set off and get the new one installed. Alright, so new timing set is on, and as you can see, nothing. There's barely anything there. Big improvement from what that one was, which probably is the original one judging by the date codes there. New Chloe's unit, solid. don't think we got to capture the intake install, but we got it all on. This little part here from Summit is a distributor gear, which is what we're going to use to convert the old distributor, which I forget if they consider that, I guess, a cast, whereas this one's considered steel. Anyways, this is for the hydraulic roller camshaft. We should be ready to start doing some test fitting. I think I'm gonna go hydraulic clutch with this car. I've done the cable clutches in the other cars before, and they work well. I'm not bashing the cable clutch at all. None of them have ever failed on me, so I just want to try something different. See how the hydraulic is. I know a few people with the modern Driveline hydraulic clutch systems, and figured I'd give it a shot. 6'2". Who wants to be 6'2" and go under a dash? Least fun ever. Come on. Oh. Lord, thunder and Jesus. Yep. Broken back. Broken back. Alright, so got it installed. And there you can see it moving. Nice and free. So that's all finished underneath the dash. Alright, so we're in the shop with Mustang Marie here, just getting the engine for the Comet all put together. And actually forgot to record generally most of it because we were having just a good time talking about cars. So we're going to show you what we've done and get into that. Alright, so we got pretty much the whole engine ready. It's off of the engine stand and on the engine hoist, as you can see here. And we've got basically everything put together. I literally forgot to record. So basically we have the flywheel all torqued down. We have the pressure plate and clutch all installed as well. And then we also installed the bell housing, which I still have to torque. It's ready to go in. We got to torque the bell housing, like I said, and then we're ready to rumble and first engine install.
Yes.
There we go.
I can help you with the stupid linkage here.
This is not going as planned. We made it. It's in.
It's in. That's what she said. You need to hold a flashlight for you or anything like that? I'll be your flashlight guy. Oh.
If you were to adjust the adjuster.
Adjust the adjuster.
Adjust the adjuster so that the front has more weight. And I think 11/16 or maybe 3/4 socket with the gun.
Scalpel?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, technically, this shouldn't fall on me. Okay, now where are we on the back? Height-wise, it's okay?
It probably could come up a little bit, believe it or not.
Okay, do you want to lower that and then we'll put it on the other side?
Hang on. Yeah, take it down. I'm gonna make sure it doesn't hit my chest. Pretty close.
Alright, so that was a mission. We got Got Dad under the car. I was under the car. Tash was passing tools. We're just we finally got her in, so that's a good note. I guess the transmission's next. We're having some difficulties getting the.
Room you got here.
I know, right? We're having difficulties getting this side engine mount in place. Other than that, it looks tons of room, like compared to a Mustang. I don't know why. Honestly, though, like.
Should have threw a 351 in there.
Jesus. Let's not. Anyways, I don't think there's going to be any problems in terms of headers, except for maybe the steering box might be in the way a touch. But this side's free and clear. Yeah, so we're looking good. We're looking promising. Thank you for your help. And thank you, Dad, for helping as well, because you said I don't need you, but I need you. So that's all.
I know you need me.
Okay.
You just want to do things on your own.
All right. Next step, getting the tranny in and then firing it up. All right, so we're working on the transmissions today, swapping out the tail shaft from the S10 transmission. Actually, this is from a 2.3 liter Ford. Someone already swapped on a tail shaft from an S10, so we're going to put this S10 onto the 5 liter transmission because it has the larger input shaft into the pilot bearing. So the top cover is going to have to come off. We're going to have to drive the pins out on both of these transmissions, take this shifter off, obviously take the tail shaft and the shifter cover off as well, and do our swaps there, because taking some measurements and seeing where each transmission is going to sit, so where the shifter is going to pop out of the transmission tunnel, and you can see that this is the brace or the transmission cross member underneath, or transmission support. Just sitting in the car, the 5 liter one felt too far back, and the S10 one seemed more suitable for by the time the shifter is going to come off of the transmission shifter as well. And just ergonomics wise, it seemed better for the S10. So that's what we're going with. And like I said, the 5 liter is going to have to require some cutting into the transmission cross member, which we don't want to do. So we're going with the S10. Tail shafts are here, obviously. So this is the 5 liter transmission that we just took this tail shaft off of. And now we're going to be putting the S10 tail shaft on after we remove the shifter tower. Here we got Mustang Marie back here again today.
Hello.
Hello, hello. And we'll show you what we got here. That's not perfect. All right, what do we got? Beautiful. Look at that. So we got a 2-core aluminum radiator from Cold Case for the Comet. And this should bolt right up to our application. No problems. So some people may wonder, like, why is it a 2-core and not a 3-core? Their Cold Case radiators are 2 cores, and they're about, like, probably, what, 1.25 inches, probably? So the size of the cores are huge in comparison to the tiny factory ones. So more than enough cooling capacity for the car. Just put the speed clips on the radiator support, so we're ready to install it. All right, so we got the radiator installed, and it's pretty close. Yeah, there's definitely not enough room to run a mechanical fan. And to be honest, this is 3 1/4 size, and the Mustang, the 65 Fastback's 2 3/4. So there's only 1/2 inch difference, which still would not be enough to squeeze in the fan, the mechanical fan, and the spacer. So, oh man, we have to readjust, and maybe I'll just have to run an electric fan only, which I don't want to do, because the electric fan, I always think of it as a backup. So basically the backup is in the sense of if I'm stuck in traffic or if I'm in a parking lot and the car's running, it's just like something I can switch on, and it allows more air to pass through while the mechanical fan is still spinning. So anyways, we're gonna tinker around here and figure out a game plan and go with it. So back onto the transmissions, I guess. We got the transmission somewhat together. You'll see that we've done something right here. So basically on a stock 5-liter Mustang transmission, the Speedo gear sits right here. With the S10 tail shaft, the Speedo location on the tail shaft itself is set further back. So the Mustang 5-liter sits somewhere here, and then the S10 tail shaft is here, where the speedometer cable goes in and the gears mesh together. So what we did was we shimmed the tail shaft with a piece of steel, and then obviously slipped the gear onto that piece of steel, and everything's JB welded and it's just setting. So this is basically from this point, from your main case to the center of this gear is 8 1/4, which is the same from the edge of that to the center of the hole there. So that's what we're doing there, just so that I have some form of speedometer for the car, obviously. All right, so it's the next morning and just cleaned up the shaft. As you can see, we're all looking good. So it was a 2-piece sleeve that we put around the shaft, obviously to bring it up to this size, and slip the gears over, and it's JB welded on the inside of both the sleeve and the shaft, and then also the gears as well. So that's all cleaned up. Ready to put the tail shaft on.
Oh, it's been a while since I bench pressed a transmission. Here goes the fun. Thank God it's not a top water. Oh, this might be too high. It's still heavy though. Okay. Readjust. Engine's too high at the current moment. Drop that down. Just a hair. Whew. Alright. Round 2. Oh, this sucks. Come on. Come on. There we go. Come on. You're almost there. Come on. There we go. Good. Good. Perfect.
Alright, so I've been making pretty good progress on the Comet lately. Got one of the headers wrapped completely and started on the other side, but ran out. So basically I just need to finish this and wrap over all the brackets, and then that one will be done. We were able to get the cold case radiator in. What that took was putting a single row crank pulley on, and there's more than enough room here and more than enough room at the crank side where the fan rotates to, so that's good. Put all the hoses on just loosely, but need to get the dipstick tube in before I put the alternator and alternator bracket. Other than that, we're just creating a new transmission mount. So basically this is what I've came up with, and this is what's going to attach to the actual cross member, and then this portion here is gonna sit something like that. And this is the rubber insulator for the transmission side. So it's gonna sit exactly like so. The factory mount basically has 2 studs going into the tail shaft, and then it's got the rubber insulator and then a single stud. It's too tall, to be honest. So by the time I would have made a mount, it would have been like hanging way too low for my my liking. So yeah, so we just created a new cross member here, which kind of mimics the factory. So that's the factory cross member. So very similar in the sense of contours.
The design.
Yeah. So And then, like I said, the angle's gonna be here, and then the rubber insulator is gonna be sandwiched between the transmission and the cross member. So that's what we're working on right now. Dad got the drive shaft all done, so that's the shorter drive shaft. It was shorter by what, 3/4 of an inch?
Yeah.
And I put the original yoke back on, and also the new U-joints that we installed while we were in Arizona. And yeah, it's coming along. All right, so got the transmission mount all installed. See the rubber there, the 2 bolts. I actually added the factory emergency bracket, so that's all hooked up. I've got the drive shaft in. That's the shorter drive shaft. Basically what we've done is we drilled little pilot holes, so I'm just going to follow those holes with the grinder, start working our way up, and this is my basic final mark. And then mark our square, which is this, and work from there. There she is. So what we're doing is we're basically just making enough room for the shifter to be able to slide in. Right now it slides in perfectly in the sense of the width. Now just length, we need to trim it a little more. And what we're going to be doing is just taking it to this blue line, and we should be good. Here we go. So that's that. We'll just clean that up with the grinder after, the belt sander, I mean. And then the boot will go over top of everything. This this shifter here is actually going to get cut. I actually cut here, and then I'll build my own shifter. So just to clear this air conditioning unit. But yeah, it should be operational very shortly. All right, moment of truth. We filled the engine. Got the DeWalt hooked up to the oil pump. Got the gauge over there all hooked up to the engine. And we're going to give her a spin and see what she's got. Hopefully she's got some good oil pressure. Here we go. Ooh. Feels pretty good. Looks like we're about 56 PSI right there. I'm happy with that. It's good enough for me. That's 10W30 oil, so it's not like we're running super thick stuff. All right, making good headway. We got the distributor installed. We got the fuel line all hooked up. We primed the oil, which you just saw was 56 PSI. We've got most of the wiring hooked up and fixed for the oil pressure sender and the temp sensor. The coil is on, which is a Protronix flamethrower. And we also went with the Protronix electronic ignition, which goes from the distributor to the coil. Flamethrower and Protronix needs 12 volts constant or switch circuit. So what we've done just for a temporary time being, we've hooked up a line going to a switch, which goes to the coil. So when we want to start the car, we'll flip this on, which will give 12 volts to the coil. Obviously fire up the car, and then when we shut it off, shut that down. This is just for firing up purposes. Basically, I'm going to order their what's called a bypass kit. There is a resistance wire underneath the dash, which drops the voltage down for the point system, the original style. So you don't burn out your points. I think it's like a 6 or 7 volts it drops down to. Nonetheless, that bypasses the resistance wire under the dash. So we're going to get that installed once it comes in. But right now, I think we're actually ready to fire up. All hoses are on, coolant's in, oil's in. Just got to test to see if this carburetor holds fuel, and then we're good to go. Never a good sign when you have to drain the antifreeze right before you're about to fire up the car. So basically what happened is the first frost plug on the passenger side bank started leaking, little drip. So then I decided to tap it a little bit. Turns out that one tap pushed it a little too far. So now we're gonna have to take the engine mount off and take that out and pop a new one in there. Not how I wanted to start the day. A bar going across each shock tower with a bolt holding onto the intake. So essentially what that's doing is it's holding up the engine, and there's a gap between the engine mount and the engine, so it's just holding the engine in place in order for us to take that engine mount off. So we're gonna do that. All right, so he put that one in dry, but we're gonna fill it up with coolant and see if it leaks. If it leaks, then we'll tap it a little further. If it continues to leak, then I don't know. I hope it doesn't leak. Alright guys, so we got pretty much everything done in the engine bay, and I think we're ready to fire it up. This is the most nerve-wracking part, to see if you've done everything correctly, but it all looks good. Let's fire it up.
Okay, just turn the key over.
Alright, here we go. Ready?
Yep. Go. Go again.
Oh, Jesus, fuck, is that what? Leaking fluid.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, it's fuel. Danger, danger.
Alright, take two. Had a small little fuel leak. Not small. And just check the timing, so we're gonna fire it up again. Ready? Yeah. Okay, there we have it. The timing. How's the firewall paint? It's coming off yet?
It's muffled, it's loud.
Open the door.
Yeah.
Oh, what? My camera. I'll get you. Hold on, buddy. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We got the engine running, which was a huge stepping stone for this build. Turns out there was actually a plug missing on the back of the intake, so that's why it was actually running relatively rough. But open headers, probably couldn't tell the difference in the video, but it does sound much better now that the plug is in. We also got the transmission in, which you can see behind me with the custom shifter I made and a 5-speed ball. And now we have to tie up all the other little loose ends like the exhaust. We're going to do some stainless steel Flowmaster mufflers. And we also need to bleed the hydraulic clutch and bleed the brakes. So that's what you're going to see in the next episode. Hopefully I get it out to you a little faster than what I've been doing in the previous episodes. Just been super busy. Sorry for that, guys, but I appreciate everyone who's following along, and I appreciate everyone who still messages me saying, when's the next video coming out? When's the next video coming out? If you like what you saw, please hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure to follow the Instagram page if you want to check those out. Also, Classic Mustangs 429. And I'll see you in the next episode, guys.